Canada's new Arctic policy. According to an article in the Toronto Star, with new funding of $34.7 million over the next 5 years, the federal government says it will appoint a new Arctic ambassador and open consulates in Alaska and Greenland under a new Arctic foreign policy strategy. The strategy names Russia and China in particular, noting the two countries are united in opposing the international order that Canada and its Western allies support. It notes that Russia has been modernizing its Arctic infrastructure and military capabilities in the region for over a decade, including what government officials described as nuclear-capable forces. The new strategy points to the military's acquisition of new Arctic patrol ships, destroyers, drones, F-35 fighter jets, and P-8A Poseidon planes as examples of incoming military hardware that will play a key role in the region.
That's crazy. Fighter jets?
But I don't know. I don't think that's happening immediately.
Yeah.
I think that's with the combination of this new policy that they're trying to put out there.
Yeah, Trudeau was saying too, they're going to increase defense spending, right?
Well, they have to.
Or triple it by 2030. Is this part of it? It's probably part of that, right?
Yeah. I can't remember the number off the top of my head. Sukfir, can you Google Canada's military defense spending 2023?
Yeah. So basically your tensions are like really rising between China, Russia, and then Canada and US, kind of. Where the Northern Passage?
Yeah, I think this whole thing is about the Northern Passage.
2023, 26.5 billion.
Yeah, but and it's 1.38% of GDP. Is that what it says?
1.38%.
Yeah, so NATO's thing is that they want everyone at 2% of GDP, right? I think the US is at 4.2 or something last time I checked.
That's another big platform this guy was running on too, Trump.
Yeah.
He's like, Canada's got to pull their weight.
I mean,
the US is 3.5.
3.5. Okay. That was way off. But yeah, so the problem with that is to get to those numbers, these guys talking about budgets,
yeah,
right? It's not easy, right?
Yeah.
You got to have either taxes go up, right, or you're going to go into more of a deficit, right? Like it's not easy to reach that number by, what was he saying, 2030?
2030, yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to be there by 2030.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think.
Maybe. I don't know. You never know.
Yeah.
9 years. I didn't think he would get reelected last time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think this whole thing, like you're saying, it's this whole fight over the Northern Passage.
Yeah.
Right. And I think all that does is make it so shipping things from Asia to Europe back and forth, you're crossing through the north, right? It's going to cut down those miles, right?
Yeah.
And things are going to get a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Right. And whoever has control over that gains a profit a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
So these guys are just like starting to take land and up there and just invade a little bit in Alaska. Is that what's going on?
I don't know.
Have they already started using the passage, or they're just saying once the glacier melts?
Yeah, so the passage, to my understanding, it's whenever there's warmer summer months,
Right.
it melts enough for certain ships to get through.
Right.
Right. But
Because
it's
they
not.
look pretty thin. Like I can't imagine big ships getting.
So there's these big, massive icebreakers.
Icebreakers.
Oh, I
Right.
see.
They break through the ice and
Yeah.
they go. Right.
Right.
But I don't like it back to in the day before, like I think 2013, they barely used it. Right.
Yeah.
But
I could imagine like climate change sort of individuals would be against that.
It's because
breaking the ice and stuff.
But it's kind of because global warming that they're even doing this. 'Cause
no,
the ice
for
is
sure.
starting to
Because
melt,
it's melting at like a really
So they
high
can-
rate.
and they can start using it more.
Right.
That's why all these countries are trying to jump on it.
From 2013 to 2019, the number of ships sailing in the Northwest Passage waters increased by 44%.
Oh.
112 to 160 vessels, according to a new report from Protection of the Arctic Marine Environment Work Group. Can you Google how many ships use the Northern Passage in 2024? But I'm guessing it's even higher than that. Right?
Yeah.
So I feel like because of all the ice melting, right, you're going to, it's
430.
430. So like, look at that. In 2019, it went from 100.
The Northwest Passage, right?
Yeah, it went from 112 to 160. Right, 5 years later, we're at 430.
Yeah.
It's increasing.
Yeah. That's
right?
crazy.
So that is a massive, especially between Russia and China,
Yeah,
right? With all these sanctions and stuff you get from the United States, it's easier for them to move oil and stuff back and forth,
for sure.
Right.
That's probably what they're trying to do. They're trying to get their oil and gas from Russia instead of through Asia and stuff.
right? And then if you're the US or Canada, right? If there's a bunch of people using the Northern Passage,
Yeah,
right? Then you stand to gain from that, right?
for sure.
If you
Yeah.
were the person that controls it,
Yeah.
right? So it seems like this whole thing to me just comes down to money,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And that's why they're bolstering their presence up there.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if you remember, Stephen Harper was actually, I think he was one of the first people to start talking. I think he even ran on a campaign in '06 that had to do with increasing Canada's presence,
Yeah,
right? I'm not fully sure, but I think I remember something along those lines. And I think it was him that might have even gotten rid of the ambassador.
okay.
I don't even remember. But
They appointed a new one recently, right?
they're going to.
Oh, they're going to.
Yeah.
And did you see Polyev? He got
Yeah.
a little flack for that too.
What do you say?
He tweeted out he's something about ambassador of what? What ambassador are you going to appoint in Alaska? Santa Claus, something of that nature. So the natives there got super offended by it.
Yeah. I mean, I can see what he's saying, right? Because you're just adding more bureaucracy, right?
Yeah,
And more positions, right? Which
Yeah.
is more spending, right? So I can understand what he's trying to say there.
yeah,
But if China and Russia are moving into the Arctic, right,
Yeah.
and moving along into it, I think China even responded and was like, "We're not doing that. I don't know why Canada's taking
Yeah.
it there." But if
they
that's
said
what they're
they're
doing,
overreacting.
yeah, if that's what they're doing, then you have to do something. What are you going to just let them slide in,
For sure.
right, and just do whatever they want up there, right?
Yeah,
But I think he's trying to get the U.S. involved, and it obviously the U.S. with Alaska, it's also in their best interest to protect
for
it,
sure. Yeah.
right?
At least Trudeau moved quick on this and he got feet on the ground as soon as possible.
Mhm.
But it's interesting. We'll see like where the developments go on that side. There's
Yeah.
also like 150,000 native Canadians that live there in the Arctic.
Yeah,
So
like in the north, you mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty big population.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like with the Panama Canal, like everything right now is running through the Panama Canal, right?
Is
So-
that where they there was a bunch of pirates and stuff? Was it through there?
No, that's the Suez Canal.
Suez, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had to reshift through there. So if this was a new passageway, it would save a lot of time and money.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of serves a different geographical area, but from Asia to Europe, back and forth, or from the east to the west to the United States, depending on where these things are coming from, Asia or even Canada, right? If
Yeah.
something's coming from Europe, right? Or something's coming from Asia, like it gives you a wide variety of, they have to travel way less, right?
For sure.
So, I mean, because right now, if you don't take the Panama Canal, to my knowledge, I think it's called the Drake Passage
Yeah.
in the south, and apparently that's the South Sea isn't exactly friendly,
For sure.
right? So
Seen a
Panama
bunch of videos online of people like
Right.
going to Alaska through there. It's crazy.
going to Alaska through the Drake
Yeah.
Passage. You mean Antarctica?
Antarctica.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the south. Yeah. I mean, we've all seen those with
Yeah.
the Viking music in the
Yeah,
background
yeah,
with
yeah.
those ships. Yeah. No, I think it's pretty crazy. But again, I think a lot of that just comes down to money. And if China and Russia are moving into
Yeah.
you also have to have some sort of presence up there, right?
For sure.
And but what's going to be interesting with this tariff talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the Northern Passage is also going to be argued, right?
For
Because
sure.
the U.S. stance is that Canada doesn't own those waters,
Mm-hmm.
right? Those are everyone's waters. That's
Yeah.
kind of the stance that they had.
That's what they already
Right.
said. Yeah.
Because I remember back in '06, Stephen Harper was going back and forth with one of, can't remember who now, but he was going back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's always been a little bit of a touchy subject. But from 2006 to 2024, what is that, 18 years? In those 18 years, I don't think it's melted enough
Yeah.
where it's been like even a highway of ships that go through there.
Yeah.
But
But it's pretty cool with these icebreakers. They can just send one through, and then they can send other ships. It just like kind of paves a path. So they're investing in those too with the U.S. and Finland, I think. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I just thought that was cool, these icebreaker ships. I didn't know about them before.
You've never seen them?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I don't think it's a normal thing that they do right now, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to move on to this